welcome to or welcome back to my channel. If you can't tell from the title of this video and that intro, today we are going to be doing things to get into a cozy fall spirit. Even though it's not quite officially fall yet, it is my favorite season to the point where two of my cats' names are literally Pumpkin and Spice. Speaking of pumpkin, so some of the things I want to do in today's video are read some fall books, at least 2, maybe possibly 3, do like cozy reading vlogs, reading updates, maybe do a little bit of fall shopping, fall outfits, and maybe even look at some new fall book releases. So if that sounds good to you, stay tuned for the rest of this video. Alright, first up, I thought I would show you my little fall outfit I have on today. First is this fantasy bookish sweatshirt that I have from the Hiking Hounds Co. And then I have it paired with just these like chocolate brown yoga pants. Even though it might not be fall weather outside, it is still chilly inside, so. Okay, and then the next order of business is I need to choose a book to read. So up here I have my September TBR and then the rest of my fall TBR and then more of my fall TBR down here, which I don't have to choose from my September TBR or my fall TBR because I am a mood reader and I don't want to put myself in a slump by reading something that I'm not feeling. But I think in this case I am feeling something for my September TBR, so that's a win-win. And that book is Small Favors by Erin A. Craig. Erin A. Craig writes more darker, gothic YA fantasy books, and The House of Salt and Sorrows and House of Roots and Ruin by her are some of my favorite YA books. So I knew that Small Favors would be perfect for the fall. Even though this cover looks kind of like fun and warm and summery, there is always a darker aspect to her books. Tor.com says it is a chilling tale about what lurks in the shadows of the people you think you know. I like to go into my books blindly, but a little bit about this book is that Ellery and her twin live in Amity Falls, and Ellery is just kind of doing the same thing every day, you know, helping out her family's business, never really straying far from home. Because the story goes that early settlers of Amity Falls fought off these monstrous creatures, but they're still lurking out there if you wander too far. So when some other people from town go missing, this is like very scary for Amity Falls. And if these monsters are real, then they're basically willing to exchange something for a price to give these townspeople one of their deepest desires. It says, soon Ellery finds herself in the race against time to stop Amity Falls, her family, and the boy she loves from going up in flames. I cannot wait to start reading this. I think it's going to be very fast-paced, keep me on the edge of my seat, because obviously there's something a little bit more thrilling happening here, and we're trying to get to the bottom of it. So let's go get set up to read. I have this candle that I'm gonna light. It's in the shape of a pumpkin, and I think the scent is vanilla pumpkin. It smells so good. It's from Target, and I think they have the same little pumpkin candles every year. So this one's from last year, I believe, but I'm pretty sure you can go and get the same ones this year. So we are going to light this to set the fall mood a little bit. So this book is already very interesting, like I haven't even started yet, but there's a bunch of different important families in the book, I guess. So it says their names and then their jobs, and then there's also rules. These rules were drafted by the elders and decided at the first gathering of Amity Falls. It says 1, a rope of great cords will not fray, snap, or weather. The falls stand strong if we all bind together. 2, tend your land, your beasts, your field, and prosperous bounties the falls will yield. 3, 15 harvest children sow, then to the gathering let them grow. 4, seek not to harm your fellow men, for Amity's wrath circles round again. 5, let from your lips no false words pour, damning characters evermore. 6, when neighbors reach for a helping hand, extend your own as God commands. And 7, enter not the forest deep, beyond the bells the dark fiends keep. So I am very excited already. Let's just get to reading. just been like sitting here reading for a little bit in bed, watching my cute little autumn ambiance in the background, and I got to the next part of the book. So each part is broken up by season. I just read Indian Summer, and now we are on to Autumn, and I've read 152 pages, and I am very much enjoying this. Like, it is so good. I feel like not a ton has happened. Like, we just got to a major build-up point where now it's like, I feel like the rest of the book is gonna have to do with what just happened. But literally by the second chapter of the book, we know the main problem that is going on, and I love that. I love that we just jumped straight in, got straight to the point, because I don't like when things are drawn out when they don't have to be, when there's a lot of filler content. And it's like, we don't need a ton of world building for this book because it's very simple and easy to understand. It's just been really fun so far, and there are a few things I really like, the writing style being one of them. Like I said, very simple, easy to read. I think the author has some very like interesting way to describe things. Like, for example, this was in the beginning of the book, and she was describing how tall something was, and the main character is like, oh, it was 15 hands tall instead of being like 15 feet tall or something like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is like so interesting to talk like that. But yeah, right before we got to the next part in the book, something major, huge happened. And like, for something that big to only happen about 150 pages into this almost 500 page book, I think like, I just can't imagine how many more crazy things are going to happen in this book after that one event. So I'm going to keep reading for a little while. I will probably come back at you with another update if something like crazy happens, or maybe just like at the part of the new season, which would be winter on, obviously. So yeah, I'm super stoked I picked this one up to kind of start off this video. It's been very interesting. It's been very fast paced. There's definitely something going on that the town is trying to get to the bottom of. I will talk to you again when something happens. Okay, I'm back with another little update. I just finished the autumn season and I'm now on page, what did that end on? 219. So that one was definitely like a shorter part of the book than the first part, but a lot still went down. Literally, I think it was the first chapter of the autumn part of the book. There's like a big reveal, and it was kind of foreshadowed in the first chapter, or not the first chapter, the first part of the book in summer, and it actually happened in the second part, which I feel like sometimes in books things are foreshadowed and you're like, oh my gosh, is that gonna happen? And then it never ends up happening. So that's kind of how I was in this book. But then it actually happened, and I was like, oh, that's like a pleasant surprise. Like, I'm happy it happened. We didn't really see a lot more evolve from that in this part, but I definitely do think it's going to come into play. And there was a lot more darker things happening in this, like more graphic, darker things starting to happen in the second part. There are some challenges that Ellery and her family face because of another thing that happened to them. And it was really just them going through the motions, trying to face this challenge, overcome it, work together as a family. And now we are getting into winter. I think things are going to continue to get gradually darker as the book goes on, which I love Aaron A. Craig for that. Like, I feel like I don't read that many darker books, but this is definitely a darker YA fantasy, but I also like that it's YA, so it's not like ever too graphic or too dark. So I think we're going to be getting into more of like the magical fantasy side of the book, even though we do have a little bit of it, like with the monsters and the world and everything, but there's definitely some bigger magical things at play. I am just like super excited to keep continuing this book and keep updating you on my thoughts on it. Good morning. Hello. It is a new day. I don't think I ended up filming anything else after I started the, must have been winter season of Small Favors here. I ended up getting to page 400 something last night, and then I just ended up finishing like the last 50 pages this morning because it really was not much to finish. And wow, this book was very, very good. I very much enjoyed it. More things just started to get crazier, more things started happening to everyone in the town. And then Ellery is just like there trying to figure out what's going on. A lot of discoveries are made, and like the last 50 pages that I read this morning were so action-packed. Like, so much happened in those last 50 pages. I was like, how? How was Erin A. Craig able to fit that much stuff into the last 50 pages of the book? That being said, though, I feel like if it would have been drug out a little bit, because it was just like so much in your face at once, I was like, I need time to digest, and I feel like the ending was a bit rushed. There are just a lot of little storylines going on in this other than like the main character's problem. Even though we are following her the whole time, but she is just keeping up with all the other problems that are going on around town. And there is a romance subplot in this, so if you like fantasy with a little bit of romance in it as well, this is a really cute romance subplot. Kind of starts as like a friendship and then blossoms into more of a romance. And like the romance was one of the things that I think was really rushed at the end. Like I would have liked to see that relationship develop more. I do think it was a very good book, cozy but dark at the same time, like monsters and just really dark things about the members of this town. They're all kind of like pitted against each other because of these supernatural forces that are happening around them. So now that I finished that, I'm drinking my coffee this morning out of my little pumpkin spice season mug. I don't know if you guys just saw Spice a little bit. She comes down here when I film. But yesterday you saw Pumpkin, so now Spice is with me today, and I have my pumpkin spice mug. Also in this like cozy sweater for the fall, and we should pick my next read. Another day back at the TBR bookshelf as we pick out the second book for today's cozy fall video. So again, my September TBR stops right here, I think, and once again, I don't feel the need to like choose from my September TBR if I'm not really feeling anything from it, but it would be nice. And then the rest of this up here and this shelf is more of my fall TBR, so that is mainly where I want to stick to. Unless I'm really feeling like a fluffy romance one day, then I can go down onto my other shelves. But for now, I want to stick to these shelves. And I just finished, like, it was kind of cozy, but definitely like a little bit darker of a fantasy book. So I don't know what vibe or mood I'm really in right now for the next book. Okay. This is gonna be difficult because I don't even know what genre I want. Like, do I want fantasy? Do I want romance? Do I want thriller? That's the question. And this is why I need to make like a TBR jar or something, which will be another video coming your way one day when I eventually do that. I don't know, like maybe the Scarlet Letter. I honestly don't know what the Scarlet Letter is about. I never read it in high school. I read A Tale of Two Cities instead. But I have this really beautiful copy of it, but I don't know like if it would be giving the fall vibes that I need right now. Beneath These Cursed Stars, this is it's like a new spin-off series based on These Hollow Vows, which I read in August, and those were very good, fast-paced YA fantasy books. So I could do that if I'm feeling fantasy. Am I feeling like a YA romantasy? I don't know. Ooh, you guys, this is really hard. I just like genuinely don't know what I feel like reading today. I do have some like fall romances down here. Like Haunted Ever After is where she buys a haunted house in Florida, and then he does like ghost tours and is gonna like research the haunted house with her. And this could be interesting to like transition from summer into fall because it's in Florida, so it's beachy, but like still it's a haunted house. Am I feeling this? Am I feeling this? I don't know. Maybe I'll look at a few more options, but I feel like this one is definitely a contender for right now. Coffee break. Hi, Spice. Okay. Also, I feel like what could be interesting is The Ornithologist's Field Guide to Love. This is like an academia rivals to lovers of these ornithologists, which is like a studier of birds. I don't know. I'd never heard of it before I like got this book. But it says rival ornithologists hunt through England for a rare magical bird in this historical fantasy rom-com reminiscent of Indiana Jones but with manners, tea, and helicopters. Oh, helicopter parasols. I was like, how is this historical? Like, if there's helicopters. I've also never seen Indiana Jones, so when it says it's reminiscent of that, I'm like, I have nothing to compare it to. You know what also looks kind of good is A Study in Drowning. Like, I don't know how well you guys can see this cover right now with like the glare of the light, but it just looks kind of haunting. I also don't really know what this one's about. It's a YA fantasy though. I feel like I don't have the brain power to start this right now. Just like reading the synopsis, I'm like, what is going on? And after just finishing like a fantasy book, even though it wasn't that hard to follow, I'm just like, not enough brain power for this. The Prison Healer, I just got this book a few weeks ago. I only have the first book in the series right now. I'm trying not to buy the whole series before I buy the first book. But this is about 17-year-old Kiva, who spent the last 10 years fighting for survival in a death prison. And she works as the healer in the prison, hence why it's called The Prison Healer. And it's like... So this sounds good. It sounds like it wouldn't be as hard to follow or like as difficult of world building as A Study in Drowning. If I do want to go the fantasy route, I just don't know, you guys. I don't know. Okay, I think I'm gonna go with Haunted Ever After because, like I said, it would be kind of transitioning from summer into fall, a nice little romance, but obviously some paranormal stuff happening in it as well. And I do think it looks pretty cozy. And honestly, like, I am living for this font, this, like, haunted font. So even though this is not on my September TBR, it is on my fall TBR, so that is good. Hello, it has been a hot minute since I started this book. I am currently on chapter 17, page 150, so like almost halfway through. And my first impressions are like, I honestly don't really have a lot to say how I'm feeling about it. It's about Cassie, who is moving from Orlando, Florida to Boneyard Key, Florida, which is like a super small coastal town that is known for being haunted. Like, it was voted most haunted small town or something. And she meets Nick, who is the owner of the coffee shop in town named Hallowed Grounds. And Cassie has moved into like a notorious house in the neighborhood, like very much known for being haunted. No one has lived there in such a long time. And Nick is like, hey, you're new to town, let's do like ghost tours so you can really like understand what this town is about, because Cassie is kind of skeptic. She's like, no, this place isn't actually haunted. But her house is haunted, and she discovers that, and she like actually starts to believe. So now she is like ghost hunting, and she's like, how do I get rid of this ghost in my house? And they're basically like, we can't, you just have to live with this ghost. So she's figuring out how to communicate with the ghost right now, and it's interesting. Like, I like the actual paranormal aspect. I feel like the romance aspect is so lacking. Like, Nick hasn't dated anyone for years. I guess he went through a really bad breakup, and he just, like, ends up hooking up with tourists that come to town a lot. He hasn't had an actual relationship since. And he asked Cassie out on a date to, like, do this ghost tour and to help her with her haunted house. Like, I just don't like them. Like, maybe I just don't like him as a main character, especially right now, because he just did and said something so stupid, like so moronic for a guy to say to a woman. He just did that, and it's like, dude, idiot. But yeah, I'm definitely liking the paranormal ghost vibes a lot, but I'm not loving their little relationship. I mean, they've only really gone on one date, so is it even a relationship? But anyways, I'm not really liking the rom-com part of the rom-com. But I'm gonna keep reading and, of course, let you know all my thoughts. Hello. It is probably like almost 24 hours later than the last time I talked to you. I got very busy yesterday afternoon. It's currently my husband's birthday today, so yesterday I made him a homemade cheesecake, and then that was just like a process in itself. And then we went out for supper with some of his family, and we're just like out really late. And then basically we got home and got ready for bed and went to bed because he had work this morning. So like we needed to get to bed. So I don't think I got any more reading in after I updated you yesterday. But today I finished Haunted Ever After. And it was all right. I really like the paranormal aspect, but the romance, I am not really a fan of. I literally didn't feel like any chemistry between the characters, and then it just felt very unnatural, and then at the end, very, very rushed. I would say the romance was lacking, which I'm not trying to say that every book needs a lot of romance, but when it's a paranormal rom-com, like, you should equally have good paranormal parts and equally good romance parts. But like this book, I would say read for the paranormal aspect, but not for the romance. The comedy was good. There were some funny parts in the book, but yeah, the romance overall was just lacking for me, I guess. But it was cute. I liked the little paranormal vibes. It did get like more darker paranormal, I guess, toward the end. Like, just some bigger, more dangerous things happening, I would say. And I did really appreciate that. I would say overall, I would give it a 3-star rating. If the romance was done better, it would definitely have a higher rating, but when we were just focusing on the romance during some chapters instead of the paranormal stuff going on and talking to the ghosts and doing ghost hunting and doing research on the history of the main character's house, like, that is what I found so interesting. So when I had to read these chapters about the romance, and I was just like, there's nothing there, you're not giving me anything. So I really had to push through those parts. But other than that, it was good. And now I need to figure out my next read. Oh, I will also do a little fit check before I forget, but this cute little sweater is from American Eagle. Actually, my jeans, these like baggy, I don't remember what they're called, like baggy drape or something jeans, are also from American Eagle. It's kind of a chilly, rainy day out, so this weather and this outfit is just perfect for getting in the fall mood. Okay, I apologize in advance if you hear anything like vibrating. My neighbors are getting a tree like dug up and torn down, so that's what that noise is. Hopefully it doesn't take too much longer, but we're back at the TBR bookshelf, another day, another new book that we need to pick out to read. And I will say, after attempting to read that romance, I'm not really in the romance mood. I would rather read fantasy or a thriller or something, because that romance was not working for me and it kind of put me in a slump, to be honest. So I feel like I need something that I can really get like wrapped up in. And yesterday, look what got delivered. My book of the month pick for the month of September was Phantasma, and this really just gives me Caraval vibes, but like darker and more graphic and more romance, and by romance I mean spice. Says Phantasma only has 2 rules: stay alive and don't fall in love. When Ophelia discovers her mother brutally murdered, there is no time to grieve. She has inherited the family's fearsome magic and enormous debt. Circumstances go from dire to deadly. However, when Ophelia's sister decides to pay off the loan by entering Phantasma, a competition where contestants rarely escape alive and the victor is granted a single wish. Like, is that literally not what Caraval is? The only way for Ophelia to save her sister is to win, but Phantasma is a cursed manor full of twisting corridors and lavish ballrooms staffed by enticing demons and fatal temptations. And Ophelia must conquer all 9 floors to succeed, if her fears don't overtake her first. When a charming, arrogant stranger claims he can help, Ophelia knows better than to trust him, but with her sister's life on the line, Ophelia can't afford to turn him away. She'll just have to ignore the overwhelming, dark attraction, drawing them closer and closer together. Because in Phantasma, the only thing deadlier than losing the game is losing your heart. So I do think that this sounds really good. I think it's supposed to be a little bit spookier. And this cover alone just screams fall vibes. Like, I wouldn't even have to know what this is about, and I'd be like, oh yeah, that's like a dark fantasy book, perfect for the fall. So I might give this a shot. It is a thick book. It's 500-ish pages. Yeah, it's just under 500 pages, 490 something. So this might take me a hot minute to get through, but hopefully we can finish it for this week's video. Hello, it is once again the next day. I did not end up reading that much yesterday. I actually only got like 37 pages into Phantasma. So, hello Spice. Here are my first impressions. It's following sisters Ophelia and Genevieve right after their mother passes away. And their mom was a necromancer, so now these like necromancer powers are being passed on to Ophelia since their mom is dead. That's really all we know. They're in New Orleans, and there's just like lots of necromancer, lots of other paranormal beings in this book, like witches, vampires, demons, like all the paranormal beings. So I think it's getting set up very well. The sisters have a really good relationship, so obviously like when Genevieve is going to get taken into Phantasma, I can see why Ophelia is going to save her. So I'm excited to continue it, and I will continue to update you on my thoughts as well. Okay, hello. I apologize for the jump scare, but it is very late at night. I have been reading Phantasma in bed for a little while now, but I wanted to give an update before I conk out for the night. So I am about 200 pages in now, and this book is literally like Caraval mixed with Squid Games, which I feel like everyone knows what Squid Games is because it was all the craze in like 2021. So Ophelia is in Phantasma right now, which is this like magical game, and she is working with Blackwell, who is a ghoul. No, he's not a ghoul. What is he? Okay, I don't remember what kind of ghost he is, but basically he is stuck in Phantasma and wants to get out of there, so he makes a deal with Ophelia that he will help her to win Phantasma if she will help him look for what he needs to get out of Phantasma. And we're just now getting to a bit of a romance between the two. It is very fast-paced. I was able to read over 150 pages pretty quickly. World building is not difficult whatsoever. It's more of like an urban romantasy, like it's set in the main world, and then they're in Phantasma, which is like magical, but it's not really like difficult explanations or anything. They don't like dive super deep into it, so it's not confusing, which I really enjoy. And it's definitely a little spooky because it's got like demons and different types of ghosts, other paranormal beings. So I am enjoying it. I'm gonna continue reading in the morning. Hello, it is the next day. Once again, I have been reading a little bit, but first, before I give you a reading update, I would just like to say I am so in the fall spirit right now. Literally wearing this ghosty Akatar shirt while I am drinking my Witch's Brew Alani and literally reading this clearly fall vibe book. So, I think this video is definitely working to help me get into the fall spirit. And then I also have some other stuff to show you after my reading update. But like I said, I've been reading this morning. I am currently on page 328, so I've read a little over 100 pages. And Ophelia is just working through these trials in Phantasma with Blackwell, of course, and their relationship is like getting steamier and steamier. The trials are very interesting to see, just like how dangerous and deadly they can be as she's competing against these other contestants in Phantasma. And we just discovered something pretty big, I want to say right before the 300 page mark, so I'm very interested to see how that is going to play out these last 200 pages, just because it was like a very big discovery for Ophelia, so I'm like, okay, what is gonna happen with that? Definitely still enjoying it a lot. It's spooky with the demons and the devil, but then it's also fun because it's got the romance, it's got the spice, and it is also just so action-packed. I don't know if I'm getting a 5-star feeling, but I definitely think it'll be at least a 4-star rating. And I probably won't give the next update until I'm done with the book, so that's exciting. Anywho's, I got a bunch of fall stuff yesterday and then a few things today, so I wanted to show you that. Yesterday, my mom and I happened to go to Bath & Body Works because I saw that they were having a candle sale, so I got pumpkin snickerdoodle, and this smells so good. So I cannot wait to use this fall. I'm currently burning my little pumpkin-shaped candle, so I think when that one's done, I'll start burning this one. And then I also got another candle from Ashburn Candles, and candles are perfect for any time of the year, but they're just especially cozy in the fall. And Ashburn does like bookish themed or fantasy themed candles, so I got this Zayden one and it is so cute and it seriously smells so good. I love all candles, but this one is like different than a fall scent. Why did I say scent like that? Anywho's, this is leather amber and citrus rose, and it just smells divine, you guys. So I have a little Zayden candle to add to my bookish candle collection. As for fall clothes, I got the viral, airy little short sleeve cardigan. It is so cute on. And then my mom actually ordered these other shirts from American Eagle for herself, but they didn't end up fitting her right, so she just gave them to me. This is the first one, so cute. And then the second one is literally the same thing, just in white. And then I got some fall books. So this first one I ordered myself. It is the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore. I also have the Pumpkin Spice Latte ordered, or Pumpkin Spice Latte, I mean the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. That's the first book in this series. But I have that one ordered and it hasn't shipped yet, so this one came first. I'm not gonna read it, obviously, until I can read the first book, but that is so cute. And then I also got an advanced reader copy of This Dark Paradise by Erin Lucan. It says an enchanted island, a dangerous heist, and a dark secret. So this is supposed to be like a YA fantasy, I believe. So perfect for fall. And Bloomsbury sent me this, so thank you, Bloomsbury. And then I also got this book sent to me by the publisher Homewrecker, and it says, she's here to teach my child, she wants to steal my life. So this just looks like a really good thriller to read this fall. Honestly, it like gives me Frida McFadden vibes, and I love Frida McFadden. On the back it just says, anyone would think my life is perfect, but it's all a lie. And it is a psychological thriller, to be exact. Yeah, I am very much looking forward to reading this. And then I also got this Cozy Girl coloring book sent to me, so I cannot wait to color this. Coloring is just like so therapeutic for me. I love coloring when listening to audiobooks. Are you kidding me? Or are you joking? So that was just some more fall themed stuff I wanted to show you, since this whole video is like trying to get into the fall spirit, but mainly bookish edition. So I'm going to go and continue reading Phantasma. I just finished Phantasma, and I should take back how I said it wasn't going to be a 5-star book, because I finished it and guess what? It was a 5-star read. Oh my gosh, I think I was around 300 pages last time I gave an update and I was like, I don't know how this is gonna play out. I will say I'm not like entirely shocked by the ending, but I was like, oh my gosh. And this was just such a fun, forbidden romance, forced proximity, paranormal romantasy. It was a little gory, it was a little spicy, it was just like everything that you could need in the fall time. So I would definitely recommend picking up Phantasma. Props to Book of the Month for choosing it for one of their books because they did a great job. And Kaylee Smith, if you need an ARC reader for your next book, please reach out to me because I would love to read that. The writing style was so magical, it was so immersive, you felt like you were in Phantasma, the haunted manor, with the characters. I feel like I can't say too much without spoiling anything, and you just need to go find out for yourself. And with all that being said, this was the 3rd book that I finished for today's video, and I don't know about you, but after reading these 3 books, I definitely feel like I am more in the fall spirit. I would definitely recommend Small Favors, really anything by Aaron A. Craig I would recommend. I would definitely recommend Phantasma. I would still recommend Haunted Ever After, but I definitely wouldn't go into it for the romance. I would go into it for the paranormal aspect. We got some fall goodies, we read some fall books. I hope everyone is now in the fall spirit. Make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel to see more bookish content. See you in the next video.